This is really unfortunate. So the young woman found dead in a hotel in Gwarinpa, Abuja has been identified to be a lady called Tessy from Benue State. Her full name is given to be Alade Ofiko Johnson, and it is believed that Tessy used to stay in Makurdi up until 2024, where she moved to Abuja. Now, it's unclear what she did as a job in Abuja, and it's unclear how she ended up dead in the hotel in Gwarinpa, except for the fact that on the 16th of June 2025, she lodged into that hotel with a man that is yet to be identified. And a few hours later, the hotel receptionists and workers observed the man leaving. And it is believed it was in that moment they went to check on his guest, because they were aware he came in with a young lady. When they saw him leave, they went into the room and saw Tessy in an unusual position with her both hands tied behind her back while kneeling on the ground face down on the bed. It was clear that Tessy had been accosted, tied up, beaten, and visibly robbed. She did look half naked in that video, so it's unclear if she was sexually assaulted. Now, put in mind that some sources are saying it was during a routine check that they saw her unconscious. Other sources claim that it was immediately the hotel spot the man leave that they went to check on her. Before they could get to the man, he was gone with the wind. Either way, report has it that she was found unconscious, and effort to revive her through medical personnel did not prove successful, and they confirmed her dead. Some people are saying that if she had gotten quick medical attention, she had a fighting chance, because the extent to what may look like the cause of her unconsciousness did not seem out of the ordinary. There was no visible injury, there was no stabbing, there was no gunshots. It did not even look as though she was strangled, or maybe she was from behind. From the way it looked, it just seemed as though she had been beaten up to a point where she passed out. So, which indicates that if those first people who had seen her had quickly called for medical attention or rendered her some kind of CPR or first aid, she would have had a fighting chance. In the video circulating, which I may not show, you could hear the first respondent, the first people who came to film her, talk about turning her face over and also talk about seeing if they could do something. But one of them did say not to touch her and avoid touching her, because clearly this is now a crime scene. And obviously touching her with the intention to help her would basically mean contaminating crime scene, which in my opinion, I don't know, other than fingerprints, which we know Nigerian police hardly take notes of. It would have been a good idea to see if they could have helped her, but obviously I guess they were waiting for the medical personnel to arrive, and unfortunately at the time they did arrive, she was already dead. Now, details surrounding how and who the man might be is still unclear. The police are launching an investigation to uncover who the killer would be, but from what is being said, there is that chance that the killer may not be found, at least if she didn't tell anybody who the person was. People who are aware of this neighborhood where the hotel is lodged and where she may have been picked up from, I've said that that area is notorious for young ladies standing by the roadside to get picked up. Ladies of the night, sex workers per se. So there is that indication that she may have been service renderer, basically a young lady by the road picked up by a man who wanted her services at the hotel room. So if that is the case, then this is a man she doesn't know. This is a man she had not seen before. And this is a man that even if she somehow survived, may not be able to identify. And one thing about this Tessy's death in a hotel is it's not the first time we're hearing of such in a hotel in Abuja. Don't get me wrong, it's not news that young women lose their life in hotel rooms. We've heard so many stories across the state, across the country, even across Africa and the world as a whole. But specifically, we've done multiple stories, about 3 that I can remember, of girls being found dead in a hotel in similar situation as Tessy, which in my mind, I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of those guys who had killed the previous girls, because it's similar. We've done one in Abuja where the young lady was beaten and robbed, and they didn't even have sex. Then there was another one with a girl whose brother all the way came from Akwa Ibom State to fight for her rights, and it's the same thing. Beaten, robbed, and basically, from indications of videos that we saw, it didn't even look like these women ended up doing anything with these men, which clearly shows that there is a pattern of men picking up young ladies, taking them to hotel with intention to do something with them, only to end up killing them and robbing them. It's just that the killer is pacing it. And I guess that is what they do. They strike once or twice or 3 times a year. In my head, there's a serial killer out there on the loose. I would not doubt if it's the same person who had killed the previous girls. It's just that once they do it, they stay on the low and wait for it to die down before they strike again. But in my head, what could you possibly be robbing from a sex worker you picked up on the street? Tessy did not even... What exactly would he have stolen from her? It's unclear what was robbed from her. That's what I keep saying. This is not a robbery. This is serial killing. I don't know what to say, but Abuja young ladies, there is a serial killer on the loose. Because what could you take from her? How much did she have? If she had that much money that is worth killing her for, she would not be on the street for you to pick her up. From a comment I saw on one of her posts on Facebook, somebody mentioned she used to earn 50,000 naira in Makurdi before she moved to Abuja. So I don't even know what you would want to rob. If she did a transfer to you, it would be easy to catch the person. But I don't think any transfer was done, unless that was done, in which case the killer is soon to be caught, at least. But given all the past incidents that we've seen, it wasn't like that. The women were robbed, but nothing substantial enough to trace back to the killers, which means that this person is actually just enjoying the kill. You're not sleeping with them. You're not doing anything with them. Maybe they would have done something, I don't know, other than actual sex. But at the end of the day, this person seemed to enjoy killing these victims. And it's looking like the person is not here to steal anything other than to take their lives, which in my thoughts, it's serial killing. It's possible it's multiple different people. It's possible it's a type of hustle for some young men. They just package, pick up these women, kill them, and then take whatever they can. Even if it's 10K, 5K, it's sufficient for them to survive. And that is also a possibility. That is a very large possibility. We'll just have to see how the investigation unfolds. We'd like to see what comes out of this. We'd like to see what the police come up with. I'm curious to know how they tend to handle this. If there is any chance that she is indeed the lady of the night, a woman who sells her body for money, then I don't know. I would like to see how this is resolved, because I mean, this is how Abuja mama, area mama of Lagos also lost her life. We've seen multiple young ladies in Abuja lose their life like this. Some of them don't even make it to the news, and it seemed to be something that repeats itself almost every year. So I would like to see where this goes and how the police come up with their investigation. And let's just see. Hopefully Tessy told somebody. Hopefully somebody saw her enter into the man's vehicle or go with the man, and that is another thing I want to say. There is that chance that one of the other ladies, if they were ever standing by the roadside to get picked up, then one of the other ladies would have seen her. If she had friends in the business, they would have seen her go with a man, and they would be able to identify the man. But the problem is, many of these young women who stand by the roadside are afraid to expose themselves. For you to come out and tell the police what you know to help the police identify the man, it means you are also a sex worker. And in case you haven't heard, it's a crime in Nigeria to be a prostitute. The prostitution is a crime. So for anybody who may have seen something, or who may have been there, who may have known that this was the man who picked up Tessy to that hotel, then they would also unfortunately implicate themselves. And we don't have the First Amendment or my Fourth Amendment right, where they can plead the Fifth Amendment per se. So we don't have the plead the Fifth in Nigeria here, or do we, where somebody can plead the Fifth and still give what they want to say? Because I don't know, unless the police can be open-minded enough to speak with other women who may have been there the night she was picked, and not use it against them, because now you're looking for a murderer, not a prostitute. But these women will be scared to come out and speak, because they will be accosted, harassed, even arrested, and also extorted by the police who would want information to help catch a murderer. So I won't be surprised if one of those women or one of those ladies knows something, but now they can't speak up because it will implicate them. But let's just see how this goes. Hopefully this is her boyfriend. Hopefully this is a man she knows. Hopefully this is somebody she had seen before. Hopefully this is a relationship issue, but I doubt. But let's see what the investigation comes up with. So stay following this page, stay subscribed, turn on your notification button so whenever there is an update, you'll be the first to know. This is how 3 brothers were arrested for the kidnapping and killing of a 55-year-old widow in Abuja. Mrs. Janet Inena Ogbonaya was said to be a mother of 5 children. She had lost her husband, and in a bid to move on, somewhere in 2018, she went on Facebook on a church group and befriended a young man, a 38-year-old man by the name of Johnson Emmanuel. Johnson told her that he was a welder, and from then on they started chatting, connecting, and over time they would meet and make love. Somewhere along the line, they started seeing more frequently and officially began dating. Now, the popular narrative of this story, as it went viral back in the day, was that Johnson poisoned Janet's drink, and then when she dies, he calls his brothers, 2 of them, to come join him, bury her before they absconded with her vehicle. But that is not the true story. Or maybe that is just one version of the story, because according to their point of view, Johnson, when he started dating Mrs. Janet, everything was going smoothly. However, Janet did have a condition. She would visit Johnson in his house, but she would not sleep over. They started dating in 2018, 2019, and up till 2020. For the past 2 years, Johnson and Janet were seeing each other. Janet never spent the night over at Johnson's house. She never did. She always refused to, because maybe she always wanted to go back home to her children. It could also be that she kept the relationship on wraps because Johnson was obviously younger than her, and maybe she did not want her close friends to look at her a type of way. But the relationship was a thing. However, on this day, the 14th of May 2020, Janet Inena visited Johnson. She drove her green Toyota Highlander Jeep to his house. They spent time together, they made love, she cooked, they ate. This was a regular date, a regular relationship. But Johnson wanted her to sleep over. Johnson wanted her to spend the night. Johnson wanted more. Well, I mean, how are you going to have a girlfriend and she's not going to spend the night in your house? But Janet wanted to go back home. Janet didn't want to spend the night. I don't know why. Nobody knows why. That could just be her rule. Or maybe to her, Johnson was a boy toy and not necessarily the boyfriend he thought he was. So Johnson, knowing that Janet Inena was not going to spend the night, came up with an idea. Something he thought would make her actually spend the night. He told her that he was going to get food, and he left the house, went to a pharmacy, lied to the pharmacist that his brother had an injury and he's struggling to sleep with the injury. So the pharmacist gave him options of a particular drug that could make him sleep, and Johnson picked the strongest of all of them. He took that drug, put it in an Hollandia yogurt, bought the food, went home, gave it to his girlfriend, Mrs. Janet Inena, and when she ate and drank it, she was knocked out, and that was how she ended up spending the night. According to Johnson, in the night she woke up, they had sex, but the good thing about it is that he was happy she was spending the night, even though he had to induce it and force it. But the only thing is, he put way too much of whatever he had put in that drink, And by morning, only he woke up. Janet did not wake up. It did not occur to him. He just thought the drugs were strong. So he let her sleep and went about his day, went about his job. By afternoon, he came back and she was still in bed. That was when he tried to wake her up and discovered that Janet was dead. He covered her up, panicking, waited till night, called his brother Gideon and told Gideon that, see, a woman in his house has lost her life. A woman came to visit him and spend the night and she did not wake up. Gideon suggested to Johnson to put her body in the vehicle and park it somewhere where somebody could find it. And Johnson was scared. Johnson said that he can't do this because he's afraid that they would see him drive and park the car. And that is because one of his neighbors was a police officer. And so if this story should go anywhere viral regarding a vehicle and a woman, they would basically be able to tell who the woman is and how often she comes to visit, because they would have seen her around. So Johnson said taking her body in her vehicle and parking it along the road is not an option because it will definitely come back to him. So somewhere along the line, Gideon came over, saw the body. It was now time for these two brothers to come up with a solution. And to be honest with you, if I was Gideon, I was not going to show up. Just go to the police. You did not kill her. She overdrank. She wanted to sleep. And if they did an autopsy, they would see that it's the sleeping medicine that killed her. And that would just be it. He had a fighting chance then. However, the two brothers decided to make a point of no return decision. They got her body up, took it to the backyard, and dumped it in a septic tank in their compound. Now, it's important to know that the house where this happened is Johnson's house. So this is his property. This is his own, he's a big man. This is his property. It's his house, paid for, owned by him. So it was sort of easy to do that in his compound, with hopes that the neighbors would not see. The neighbors who are in other compounds would not notice because they did this at night. After burying Janet Nena in the septic tank, they went to get cement to cement it up and cover it up. And what was left now was her vehicle. I mean, it's just a matter of time for Janet and Nena's children to reach out and realize that something was up. So they had to act quick. Johnson immediately put up his house for sale, took her vehicle and repainted it red, changed the color to a totally different color. And eventually, he and his brother both moved back to the village in Imo State, I believe. Now, around this time, Inena's children had already begun looking for her. They're calling her number. It was not going through. And eventually, they called the line and someone picked. It was said that it was Johnson who picked. And then tells the child that your mother has been kidnapped and that they should pay the sum of 5 million naira for a ransom. This is where the narrative that she was kidnapped and the ransom was demanded and she was killed. But according to the boys, according to Johnson, he did not exactly mean to demand for a ransom. It wasn't like he wanted 5 million naira. He just wanted the family or the police to think that she had been kidnapped. That way they will look towards the kidnapper. They will look into the case of kidnapping. They would not think of anything other than kidnapping. It was just to mislead them, according to him. As if they wanted to actually give him 5 million naira, he would not take it. But let's move on. After that call, he threw her phone away, threw his own SIM card away, and pretty much stayed back in the village to live a new life. While he was in the village in Idiota local government area of Imo State, he is telling people that he has gotten a new car, that the car is on the way, that the dealer is going to bring the car. He's basically just creating the narrative to people around that he is getting a new car so that they would not suspect it's a car that he had collected from a woman he had killed, basically. And that is where his younger brother, Success, comes in. He tells his younger brother, Success, to go and get the vehicle from the person bringing it. And I guess this is where everything started going south. It's not clear how they wanted the car to be shipped to them. It's not clear how or what they thought. Maybe the police were able to trace the car to where the person who is to bring it was to bring it from. And that was when they knew that, okay, if this is this woman's vehicle and they're looking for her, wherever this car is going would lead us to the suspects. And they sent Success to go receive the vehicle. By the time Success goes to the park or goes to the place where he was supposed to receive the brand new vehicle, he was picked up by police and arrested. Success knows nothing about Inena's death, knows nothing about what had happened in Abuja. Maybe all his life he was in Imo State. It was his brothers who had sent him to go and get the vehicle. He knew nothing about anything. His only job was to go there, pay the person who is to bring the car home and celebrate with his brothers. But that did not happen. When Success was taken and arrested, some sources said he was taken to Abuja directly. But, you know, they figured out that he was not the one they were looking for, but he was a person of interest, obviously. And he eventually was brought back and helped get his other siblings who were involved. Through Success, they were able to arrest Gideon and Johnson, and they were all arraigned, taken back to Abuja, where Johnson confessed that Inena was already dead and was buried in the septic tank. He took them there to where he buried her, and her body was recovered and sent to the mortuary. And that was it for the story. He later on explained to them how it all went, that it wasn't something he meant to do. He didn't mean to kill her. It happened to be an accident, an overdose, because he just wanted her to spend the night over at his house. Maybe he should have listened to her. Maybe she knows that bad things happen when she spends the night at a man's house she's not married to. But, you know, some men just prove stubborn, and this is what happens. Now he is going down and he's taking his brothers with him. The only thing with this story is we've never gotten an update to the court proceedings. I don't know anything. I tried to look for court documents I couldn't find. I don't know if they've been sentenced, if they're still in court, if the brother's Success has been asked to leave, because rightfully so, he wasn't there to witness any of this. Gideon and Johnson are the only two people, in my opinion, that should face the full wrath of the law. Despite the fact that they may have not meant to kill her, they still made a bad choice in disposing her body like that and, you know, causing pain to the woman's family. So, to be honest with you, they should be the only two. Hopefully, the court finds Success not liable. Because when you look at it, he only went to retrieve a vehicle. So, well, I guess the court, I don't know. If you guys know any update on this story, let me know. If anybody knows any update on this story, let me know the update. I will update you guys if I get a new information. But the story is just an unfortunate one. It's one of those things that did not need to happen. Sometimes when a woman or somebody tells you that they don't want to do something, there could be a reason. Maybe, I mean, you don't know this woman's previous marriage life. You don't know if she swore an oath with her husband. You don't know if she swore some kind of ritual or thing, if she's connected with her husband, a type of way where even if she wants to be with another man, she cannot spend the night with the man. And you just have to listen. And you did not listen, and you wanted her to sleep. You went to get the strongest of all sleeping medicine. You don't know if she has any condition. She's a woman of a certain age. She probably takes drugs or something, and that's played like you don't play with people's life like this. You don't drug people and just expect them not to react to these drugs, because everybody's system is different. Everybody's going through medical problems that you don't even know. So when you pretty much kidnap a woman, put a sleeping medicine in her drink, and she gets knocked out and sleeps in your house, you basically killed her. Whether by accident or not, Johnson killed the woman, and that is just what it is. He meant to not kill her, but you still did. You still did. It's unfortunate.